Good morning, boys and girls. It's time for the Cap Guy Show starring me, JT, and him, the Cap Guy. Good morning, folks. It's a Thursday morning. Going to be about 90 degrees here in Oklahoma today. Looking forward to that. We're going to get out and mow, aren't we, JT? No, I ain't mowing unless I can sit on your lap. That might look a little funny to the neighbors. I don't know about that. Yeah, I had quite a few comments last night for the first time that I get comments, but I'd say that was the most, and a lot of it was I got a request to show how to ship a cap because I do it probably not the way most people do it, and I do ship a lot of caps, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. And then I had another lady ask me about my Navy since I'd mentioned it yesterday, and I got some questions from a gentleman and another person about what ships I was on. So, not to bore everybody, but I did get asked, and I try to respond to all the comments, and I will always do that. I know that I do see a lot of the people that I follow give little hearts, which tells me that they're at least reading the comments and they respond to some of them. I know that when you're getting a couple thousand comments, you can't respond to everything, but I'm going to try as long as I can. The bigger I grow and get more comments, I do appreciate them, because how am I going to know what to teach or tell you or to cover if you don't ask? And I'm an open book, personally and eBay reselling. I will help you with anything I can. I like to tell stories along the way of things I found and how I found them, or things that people have sent me in comments. I won't send their personal information or give names, but unless they tell me to. But I had a couple of interesting purchases last night, and yesterday I got a little worried because when I did my video, I had 3 sales already, and I thought, well, it's going to be another day. It's going good. And then I watched Lonnie from Shed Flips last night, and of course he's running that sale, and he had a ton of sales, and he had some good ones. And I thought, so 10:30 last night, I hadn't had another purchase. I had 3, and I'd already taken 2 of them to the post office. The other I was waiting on a payment on. It was a ball cap. And so I thought, boy, this ain't going to be, it was not a great day the day before. At least I had sales, but it wasn't a great day. So about 10:30, I went to bed, and all of a sudden my phone just ding-da-ding-da-ding-da-ding. And I ended up with 9 sales. And all before midnight. I was up till midnight answering questions and sending offers and making sales. And one of them was a really good one, and I'll get into that one as well. But first, I'm going to do what I was asked to do. I'm going to show you just a couple of things. And again, nothing that I'm showing you is meant to be anything braggadocious or anything. It's just part of my life. And I hope as I get to know you and you get to know me and the channel, I think it's nice to know a little bit about the people that you're looking at and listening to. But my first ship was a guided missile cruiser. It used to be a DLG. It's called the USS Wainwright. It was considered a guided missile cruiser. And it was based in Charleston, South Carolina. Of course, that Navy base doesn't exist anymore. I was a radioman. I served a year and a half on that ship, and then I got transferred to the USS Constellation CV-64. It was the last of the conventional carriers. It was based in Coronado, California, which is right across the bay from San Diego. Most of the ships in San Diego are at 32nd Street. Those are the other frigates and cruisers and destroyers and tenders and everything. All the carriers are at Coronado. When I was in, it was the Kitty Hawk, the Ranger, and the Constellation that were based there. Now there are other carriers. Of course, the Constellation's been scrapped last year down in Brownsville. It had sat in Bremerton, Washington for a while after it was decommissioned. And the Wainwright was actually torpedoed a couple hundred miles off the East Coast in the Atlantic when they were done with her. And so during the 4 years I was in, I served 2 years under President Carter and 2 under Reagan, and there was definitely a noticeable difference. I won't get into politics, but there was a noticeable difference in the military. some of the things I've done, I've crossed the equator, I've crossed the international date line. I've been through the Panama Canal during the Nicaragua thing. We sit off the coast there for 28 days waiting on that to happen. And then, of course, there's just some pictures of me on the wall. I do have a lot of Navy type stuff, and I've got a couple other pictures up here of the Carrier, a smaller one, and of the Wainwright. The Wainwright, we went to the Med, we went to the Caribbean. I've been to every continent in the world except for South America and Antarctica in 4 years. I was a radioman second class when I got out. And again, not to bore you, I've been to Australia, Africa, Europe. I love Spain. I loved Australia. Saw a lot of beautiful water, and most people know that the world is mostly water. And when you're in the Navy, you realize that, because sometimes you're several thousand miles from any land at sea. Of course, on a Carrier, you're a little safer because it's bigger. Excuse me, it weighs 80,000 tons. The cruiser had a complement of 375 people on it, and in 1979, we were coming back from 3 months in the Caribbean and Nicaragua, and we were in port about 3 days, and Hurricane David came rolling up the East Coast, and we had to go to sea. And that wasn't a fun 3 days for me. I was a motion sick. I have an inner ear thing, and I did get motion sick. That's one of the reasons I ended up on the Carrier. I just couldn't get over it. And when it was normal seas, it was fine, but when it got really rough, I got motion sick, and to the point where it was hard for me to even function. So again, enjoyed both of them. Have a lot of friends still from those. I've lost a couple of friends over time. I got out in 1982 and came home and got into the transportation industry, and that's the story I told yesterday. But again, I appreciate those that thank me for my service. So many of us have done it, and I appreciate all the people that have served. And I've got a brother that served in the Navy and a brother that served in the Army as well. And there's 4 of us boys, so we've done our duty as well. I'm gonna get into what I sold, and then I'll get into packaging a hat for you, because I want to show people how I do that. And it may not be agreeable to everybody the way I do it, but this is the way I do it, and I've had success with it. One of the first things I sold, and I shipped this yesterday because it dinged while I was on the video. It's a Caterpillar, or Cat as they call them, snapback cap. It was in really good condition. Looked like it hadn't even been worn. And it's Dar Equipment, which is the local Caterpillar dealer here in Oklahoma. Sold it for $850, and it says $9, but I'd sent an offer. And when those pop up, I send them. I paid 18 cents. I got it at the bins, and I ended up making just a tad on the shipping, so I made $9. This I found at my first yard sale of the season. Oh, it's been over a month or so ago. It was late January. It was really cold. We were out there at 7 a.m. and I paid $3 for this vintage Remington Roll-O-Matic razor, and sold it for $34.99 with free shipping. And of course, it goes to the GSP because this is going to Switzerland. So it did work. I did test it. It's vintage, of course, and it was $8.50 to ship it to Kentucky, and I don't know what the gentleman paid from there, but I ended up making $18.75 on this Remington razor, and it's pretty cool for those of you that are old enough to remember these kind of razors. The next item I got paid for this morning, so that'll go out today. This is another ball cap I got at the bins. Paid 18 cents, sold it for $11 on an offer. It's a Trout Unlimited canvas type cap. Canvas type caps aren't the same as the foam or the snapbacks, because the canvas are more sturdy than the others, so you don't have to take as much care when you're shipping them. The next item, this is my home run. The Goodwill that opened south of me on the 12th of March, I went in and spent some money on that day. I made 2 trips and bought a lot of great stuff, with which a lot of it I've already sold. And if you look at my previous videos, you'll see it, and you'll hear me talk about the Goodwill south of me. The Goodwills did close yesterday around here for however long, at least for a couple of weeks. But this is a Canon ultrasonic, excuse me, lens. They had $9.99 on it. And one of the things I love about Goodwill is some things they market and you just wonder who's marking the stuff because it's valued in their mind more than what it's worth. And then they have some things like this item where it was $9.99 and it comped out at between $170 and $185. Obviously, it's pre-owned. I've had offers. I've even dropped offers as low as $155 $159 yesterday. And then when my phone dinged, I thought it was somebody in another conversation I was in, and I saw this and I got excited. I was like, okay, that made my day. $169.49 plus shipping. Now I did lose a little bit on the shipping. They paid me $9.90 to ship this, but I decided to purchase insurance because of the value. Sometimes I forget when I get in the heat of shipping. When it's over $100, I don't always buy it. And I'll be honest, I'm going to knock on some wood and not JT's head. Thank you. I'm not a dummy. And anyway, I know you're not, buddy. Seeing I lose track that's what happens when you get old. But I didn't want to take a chance on it, and I've had good success with the post office, but you only get paid $100 if that's what you ship and something happens. And I'm not so much worried about it getting damaged as I am it getting lost because I did package it very well in the box. So anyway, when it was all said and done, after losing a little bit because of insurance, I ended up making $135.25 off this, and I'll take that all day long. This one has a little story, a couple of stories actually. It's I got a box of these from an estate sale at the end of February, and it's one I told a story about yesterday. Lady's husband passed away about 8 years ago, and this stuff had been sitting in a house, along with some vintage T-shirts and some Harley stuff and trucking stuff and music stuff. And I sold this pretty quickly for actually $11.75. Shipped it. On the way, the gentleman decided he didn't want it. He thought it was a V3E, which I know nothing about cell phones. But I did fire these up, and the ones that I am selling do work. I just don't know. Some of them have the card still in them, but they're very old. He didn't want it, so instead of having to ship it back at my cost because he didn't want it, he just refused it, came back to me, and I relisted it, left it in the box, so all I had to do is create a label, and then last night it sold again. So I actually got more for it this time at $16 because it didn't go out as an offer. And they paid shipping, and I had 50 cents invested in this, and I made $13.90 on it. And I have a few more of different kinds. This I just bought, just a few weeks ago, not even. And got it at Goodwill, paid $5.35. It is a sewn, which means it's stitched letters and numbers. Orlando Magic, Dwight Howard jersey. Of course, he plays for the Lakers now. But it's an adult large, paid $5.35. Sold it for $18.97 on an offer, plus shipping, made $12 on it. And the last item, and this is going to get interesting here. I got a note from a lady late last night, and she said that she's reduced in her hours, I guess, working and going through some health issues, and I hope you get well soon. She asked me if I would do combined shipping, and I'll discuss that in a couple of moments, but she wanted to buy several of these Miss Me jeans, and I've got about 10 of these left, but she wanted 3 of them, and they're all the same size. They're all 14s, different styles, as you can see. And I didn't know at the time what I had in them. I knew what I was asking. I was asking $17 a pair for 2 of them and $18.50 for the third pair. And I said, yes, I'll do combined shipping. And but it's kind of got me in trouble over time because sometimes when I sell stuff and people ask me if I'll do combined shipping, I always want to do that. I want to sell more items. But you got to be careful when you're shipping combined shipping because sometimes you may overcommit and not think about the cost of the shipping. And I've actually lost money shipping like Hot Wheels cars and stuff, sell 50 of them and end up losing $20 when I really didn't have a whole lot in them. So You really got to think about how you're going to ship them. Typically, jeans for me go in a priority flat rate envelope. For me, it's $6.94 because of my discounts being a top seller, and because you're using eBay, you get a discount. If you were to ship them normally in a regular envelope, it'd be about $10, $10.90. And so I thought, well, there's three. I can't put them in priority flat rate envelopes because they won't fit. So the first thing came to mind was a medium flat rate box, which again is about $12.80 with my discounts. And so I told her, I'll do it. It'll be about $14, and I'll ship them all, and that'll save you about $16 in shipping, $16 to $19, and so the price stayed the same. I had $7 invested on all those jeans. I bought them all at the same time last July. And I'm glad to be getting rid of these things because I am getting out of the jean business, except for maybe some Rock Revivals and some other vintage Jordache or Rockies, which I do have some of the old Western girls Rocky jeans. I've got a couple of those. And anyway, this morning I started looking at it, and I thought, you know what, those might fit in a 7 by. I mean, I know they'll fit in a number 7 box, 12 by 12 by 8, but I'm going to compare the cost. So I did. And it came out a little bit less than using the flat rate medium, which they would have fit in. So all in all, when those were done, I made $7.50 on the two that were 17 each, and then I made 10 and a quarter on the pair, the one. And the way I did that was I calculated. What I did was I updated them, put 2 free shipping, and then I just put the $14 on one pair. Made it easier than split it up 3 ways and confusing everything. So on the day, I had 9 sales. Thank goodness for the late stuff. I'll stay up to midnight if you'll keep buying. I had $40.20 in cost of goods, $311.45 versus about probably $50 and what I would have had on those three if I hadn't had any more. And then I profited $224.40. So that's a good day. I'll take that, especially in the times we're in. And again, I say stay safe. I'm going to show you how I ship a ball cap. I know that most of the people that I watch ship their ball caps in an 8x6 by, I think, 4 box, and it adds a couple of 2 or 3 ounces to the shipment. But typically a ball cap, most of them weigh about 3 to 4 ounces. There's some that'll go a little higher depending on what's on them and if they're embroidered and etc. But I have always shipped mine in a poly bag, always, and I've never had a problem. I've shipped some $50 ball caps that I, had second thoughts about, but I'll show you what I do, and I'm going to use this Titleist cap. I'll just use it. I don't have one to actually ship, but I'm going to show you what I do. So a poly bag, and this is basically a 9x11 or 9x10, and God, I can't even say it. 11x9, and a Titleist cap. It's a stretch flex fit cap, and I either grab a piece of paper, or typically, because I don't want any ink rubbing off on some of these caps, especially if they're lighter colors, I grab a thing of bubble wrap, one little strand of bubble wrap. I stick the cap in and I'm not going to seal this because I haven't sold this cap. I hadn't even listed it. Maybe Kevin at Part-Time Pickers needs it. He likes them caps. And then in the ball or in the hat part that you're wearing on your head, I stick this in there and kind of form it to fit it. Not that it's going to hurt that anyway, unless it's now foam and stuff. It could, if it gets crushed. The bill is pretty sturdy, and that's the only part you really, when you're doing this, you kind of maybe worry about. And then I stick one of my trusty cards in there, and I seal it. And then I always add 1 strand of tape. Every package you get from me, I don't care what it is, it's going to have at least 1 piece of tape on it. Even though this is pretty solid, it's just me being, I guess, OCD or something. I don't know. But that's what I do, and that's kind of what it looks like. It's just a ball of bubble wrap inside the cap. I stick it in there. I've shipped them all over the world like that, and I've never, ever had a problem. Never. And I ship I'm the cap guy. I ship a lot of caps. And I probably have, I don't know how many I have on eBay, but I got at least probably 700 in the house. And that doesn't even include my personal collection. Personally, I do collect Titleist and Ralph Lauren polos, and of course some Navy caps and things like that. If it's valuable, it's going on. And again, the valuable hats you want to be looking for are the old trucker snapback caps that say K Products or Louisville Manufacturing. The Louisvilles are a little harder to find, but the K Products, depending on what's on the front of it, and if it's agricultural, or tobacco, Kodiak, chewing tobacco, that's a very valuable hat. Those are the ones you want to be looking for. Those have a lot of value. But some of the Nike, some of the Titleist, the Tiger Woods, some of those have a little value too, and then obviously vintage stuff, depending on, again, what's on it. So I don't want to keep the video long. I was going to go back to my inventory room again, but the video's over 21 minutes, and I don't want to bore everybody. I will probably do that tomorrow. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the new subscribers. Please keep tuning in. Please comment. Tell me what you want to see, what you want to know. Again, I don't know everything. And it goes back to when people ask me, well, why? I ask them, why don't you resell? I don't know what I'd be looking for. I don't know another. Well, that's why, one, you watch pickers, other pickers, not just me. And that's why also you use that phone and look it up. If you think I know everything about everything, I take notes when I'm watching videos, what sold, some things I'm interested in trying and some I'm not. Obviously, the easier stuff to package, Lonnie bought a bunch of stamps, and I have a couple of those actually on eBay. But there's not a lot of profit in them, but like he said, they're easy to photograph and they're easy to ship. So please keep tuning in, like, share, hit that subscribe or that notification button and the subscribe. And y'all have a great day, and please, please stay safe. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow, as I always do. Have a great day.